Hello, everyone. I'm Daniel Rose, Director of the Undergraduate Social Work Program here at UNC Greensboro, and this advising video is specifically for juniors. I will try to keep it as short as I can. I have a tendency to be verbose. Just to let you know, the reason I have a tendency to be verbose with these videos is because I'm trying to answer every conceivable question I've received. I've been doing this for a long time, and often I get a lot of the same questions over and over again. And so I'm helping to try to clarify these questions as much as I can in this video, understanding that will not be able to answer everything. And so you always need to reach out. And that's why it's really vitally important that you come to the advising sessions, because not only am I going to be there to talk about advising and registration, but also your classmates are going to be there. And what I find is they often can kind of help you navigate some of the things that maybe I'm not really understanding, or maybe I've missed or forgotten. So I'm going to go ahead and drive right into the PowerPoint, and we'll try to keep this as brief as we can. So this is fall advising for juniors. So just quickly, as you've heard me before, you must take responsibility for your education, which means you need to learn these systems. I can answer questions as much as I can. There's sometimes this learned helplessness where like, oh, I don't really understand it. And you just kind of tell me what I need to take or what I need to do. There's very specific requirements for the course. Social work for the program. Social work courses are offered at very specific times in the semester and the academic year. So if you miss one of these courses, this has the potential to put you behind an entire year. So it's not a program where you can kind of mix and match like you could others. This is a professional degree. We are accredited by the Council of Social Work Education. And so we are required to offer courses at specific times, and they're prerequisites and co-requisites. So you need to make sure you pay attention to these things and pay attention to when courses are offered and when you need to take them so that you don't get behind with your courses. And you've all heard me say this, and I will say it almost every time I meet with you all. I'll say it in classes. You need 120 hours to graduate. It's very simple mathematics. If you're taking on average 15 credit hours per semester, you should be fine. If you're taking less than 15 credit hours, then it may be problematic for you. DegreeWorks is really helpful, and I have here that you need to learn DegreeWorks because that is your degree evaluation. That is the place that has your final grades posted. It tells you what you need, what your grade point average is, how many courses you've completed, what credit hours you have, how many credit hours you need to graduate. So you must learn DegreeWorks. Often the problems I have running in with students is they just haven't paid attention to DegreeWorks. Canvas is the platform we use to help assist us in teaching classes. The grade in Canvas is not your final grade. The grade on DegreeWorks is your final grade. So you must pay attention to DegreeWorks, and you need to understand you have to have 120 hours to graduate. Invariably, every year, I'll have students come up to me, especially the last semester, a couple, 3 weeks into the last semester, they're at 118, 117 credit hours. I don't know what happened. I have a tendency to be somewhat unsympathetic because it's like you haven't been paying attention. The thing about DegreeWorks, it's really, I think, a little glitch you need to pay attention to is it has all these little check marks. And so you'll have all these check marks, and you think you're done, but you still need 15 hours of electives. And I've also had students where they've gone down the DegreeWorks and they've counted the numbers on the side, and they'll say, oh, but these numbers say that I have like 130 credit hours. What will happen on DegreeWorks is the course may meet two different educational requirements. And so what you're doing is you're just counting that course twice. So the number on DegreeWorks is not going to lie to you. The number of credit hours you've completed, I will refer you to the DegreeWorks video. I talk about that in the DegreeWorks video, and I show you where to look at that number. That will tell you how many credit hours you have and how many credit hours you need. Subtract those two numbers, and that's what you need to graduate. So you just need to pay attention to DegreeWorks and understand how many credit hours you need. And of course, help each other. One of the things I really hope happens, and I think what I'm going to do is, you all know, if I have listed here, we have a social work Canvas page now that has a module in advising. Is students will often come up to me and say, hey, what's an easy A? What's an easy course? And of course, for those of us who are professors, we get really offended by that question. We have dedicated our entire lives to education. And for those of us who are social work professors, we've dedicated our lives to social work and education. So education to us is about transformation and learning and growth. It's not about what's easy, what's an easy A or what's an easy course, but about what challenges you, what puts you in positions of being uncomfortable and learning, what you get from it. How does it improve or enhance your life? How does it transform who you are? Not what's, quote, easy. So we get kind of like, when students come up and ask us what easy class is or what a class where you can make an A in. That being said, I don't know. I don't take these classes with these professors. You do. So my hope is that when you come to the group advising, you come prepared not only to ask questions from me, but ask questions of each other. Like, I'm really struggling to figure out a course to meet this MAC requirement over here. Can somebody tell me a course that you may have taken that may meet with your schedule or you feel like you got something out of? And one of the things I want to try to do, if I think about it, remember, is to create a discussion board on Canvas specifically so students can ask each other about questions and maybe put on that discussion board, I wound up taking political science with this professor. I really got a lot out of this course and it was really helpful and maybe not as challenging as I thought it was going to be. And so I think that not only rely on us as faculty, but also rely on each other to kind of create a community of learners. That's what will really be helpful for everyone. And so come to the advising sessions. This is part of the reason why they're mandatory, because when you come to Zoom session to meet with me individually, you start asking me questions like, well, what should I take? Like I said, I don't know. I'm not in these courses with you, but you can help each other. So really encourage you all to kind of come armed with some ideas of courses that you need to take, or questions from people from other courses that they've taken that may help you with the courses that you're in. And also, just as a reminder, I'm not going to have virtual office hours after the mandatory advising session. So if you don't make it to the advising session, that means you're going to have to come to my office during my office hours for advising. The mandatory advising session is when you're going to get your advising code for the spring semester. So I do need for students to show up for that one. So if you're juniors, that means if you've completed over maybe 55, 60 credit hours, you need to have completed Social Work 215 before you're taking Social Work 310, 311, 315, which that means is that you need to be in Social Work 310, 311, 315 right now this semester. That's only offered in the fall semester. And so what you will need in the spring is Social Work 325, 351, and 352. Now, this is a little glitchy for those of y'all because we have changed our curriculum a little bit. So this is part of what, and I'll bring this up during advising session. So this is part of what I need students to understand and be aware of. We've added an additional course. So for many of you, you're under an older catalog year. So 352 is not going to show up on your degree works, but it is a course that's going to be offered in the spring semester. So you need to be in 310, 311, 315 this semester. The policy course 310 historically has been 4 credits. It's now 3 credits. So there's 2 things that we'll have to do with you. Either we'll have to do a curriculum modification to have that count, or we'll have to update you to the new catalog year. That's something we have to do. We just have to sit down and work with each individual student on doing that. So in the spring semester, some of you, 352 will not be on your degree works, but 352 is our new group course. So let me explain the thinking behind this. So we're a BSW program that's accredited, and part of my responsibility is to make sure that we are in line with other BSW programs. And other BSW programs in the state, many of them, not all of them, but many of them have a group course, because what would happen is students will complete spring semester junior year and they'll go into their senior year in an internship. And the internship is having them co-facilitate a group, like a psychoeducational group. So we really felt like we need to offer these skills and practices for students. So what we did was we moved diversity class into the fall semester, so you start getting diversity content earlier. And then we added a group course. So in the spring semester, you'll need to be in research methods, which is 325, which is offered online. You need to be in what's called our professional practice with individuals and families, which is Social Work 351. And we need for you to be in professional practice with groups, which is Social Work 352 in the spring semester. So just to make sure, and I'll follow up with you and I'll repeat this over and over again, you need to be in those 3 courses in the spring semester. Sorry. And you'll be applying to the major this semester. After advising starts to settle down, I'll start sending out information about applying to the major. And also, you need to make sure you're completing your general education courses. We expect that you have your general education courses completed before you start the fall semester, not before you apply to the major, not by the end of the spring semester, because some of you can take them over the summer or take winter sessions. But before you start the fall semester, we like for you to have those general education courses done. If you have 1 or 2 left, we will work with you. If you have multiple left, it may prevent you from going into your field placement year last year. So sometimes students will be scrambling during the summer next year to try to get some of those general education courses completed. Overrides, and I'll repeat this over and over again, I cannot do overrides for other programs. So if you're doing a minor in Human Development Family Studies and you can't get in Human Development Family Studies course, do not email me to ask me to get you into that course. I am not the undergraduate director for Human Development Family Studies. I am only the undergraduate director for social work. I can do overrides to get students in social work classes. If social work classes are full, you need to let me know. It is my responsibility to get you in that. If you're working on a minor, if you're working on a second major, if you're desperate to try to get into like a history course, meet a general education course requirement is full, I cannot get you in that class. I can only do overrides for social work courses. We do not know when your registration window opens up. Just as a reminder, the October 11th, 12th, and 13th dates are for advising only. It is not for registration. Registration opens up in another couple of weeks. I do not know. This is the question I get almost all the time. When's my registration window opens up? I don't know. It is staggered based on credit hours. So what that means is you need to log into UNC Genie, go to registration, and then it should tell you when your registration window opens up. It may not even tell you that yet, but it should pretty soon, or that information should be in Schedule Hero. So you have to find out when your registration window opens up. I do not know when your registration window opens up. Summer registration usually opens up sometime around the beginning of the spring semester. They'll let us know when summer registration opens up. Make sure you keep your advising code, because the advising code you need for the spring semester is the same advising code that you need for the summer session. So it's always a different advising code for the fall and spring, but make sure you keep up with your advising code so that you're able to register for summer courses if you want to do that next summer. Winter session courses should be opening up probably within the next couple of weeks, or at least the list of winter session courses. And then you usually can Google UNCG winter session, and then they'll have the list of courses. If not, I will try to find that and I'll try to post it on you. But you can find it in the banner, the scheduled courses. You just often have to kind of tinker with it with dates, like when the dates are for courses requirements, like when the courses are offered. But winter session courses are almost entirely general education courses. We don't have social work courses. So like if you miss a course, we don't offer them in the winter session. Winter session is a limited number of courses, and they're primarily general education courses. So they're a really great way to get general education courses done, or to get caught up on credit hours if you are behind on your credit hours to graduate. So just as a reminder, if you transferred in with an Associates of Arts degree, then you won't see those general education course requirements because of the articulation agreement between community colleges and the university. But if you transfer in with just a handful of college credits, or you have an Associates of Applied Science and Human Services, you will still need to complete general education course requirements. That's the Minerva academic curriculum. So if you have an Associates of Arts, when you look at degree works, you won't see the Minerva academic curriculum. It'll be collapsed. You only see the social work requirements. The rest of you will see the Minerva academic curriculum. As a reminder, I have no control over the general education requirements that the university has, which includes, oral communication, which is a speaking intensive. There's a writing intensive courses. There's history courses. There's math courses. There's science courses. Students must take these. They must take them. That is a university requirement. So the social work program requires a data analysis course, a stats class. So you can take Statistics 108, that meets the university math requirement, which is called quantitative reason. It's just a fancy term for math. If for whatever reason, and it meets the social work requirement for data analysis or stats, if for whatever reason you feel uncomfortable taking Stats 108, you think it's going to be too challenging, you're anxious about it, I would encourage you to take Math 112, Topics of Math. That is a math course for liberal arts students. Just to remind everyone, I have never said that's an easy course. That is the least challenging of the math courses. So there's Math 112, Topics of Math, there's college algebra, there's calculus, there's statistics, there's a host of math courses you can take. Math 112 is the least challenging. It's still a math course. It's the least challenging of the math courses. So if you feel uncomfortable taking Stats 108, you'll wind up having to take two courses. You'll take Math 112 to meet the university requirement, and then you will take Social Work 350, which is our data analysis course to meet the statistics requirement for the social work requirement. As a reminder, and I don't know if they've started this yet, Stats 108 has been updated by the university. They will want students to take a pre-qualifying test for this course. So what that means is, if not now, eventually, as you try to register for Stats 108, what it will do is it'll say you need to take this pre-qualifying test. If you make below 70 in that pre-qualifying test, it's going to force you to take I don't think they call it a lab, but it's going to be a lab, an additional 1-credit lab course to go along with Stats 108. Stats is a challenging course. So that's something the university is moving towards. I don't know if they've done it yet, but if you feel comfortable, you can take Stats 108. It meets both requirements. If not, I would encourage you to take Math 112. Math is a university required course. The Cultural and Diversity electives, so if you look at the degree works, and of course I have a video on degree works, you have to orient yourself to degree works. If you look at the video degree works, social work, and then it has courses below there, psychology, sociology, human development, family studies, American politics. Those are area requirements or cognate courses required specifically for social work students. And then they have the Cultural and Diversity electives. This is not an extensive list. The university expects you to either take a foreign language at the elementary level, which is like French 101, French 102, Spanish 101, Spanish 102, or you can take two courses in the Cultural and Diversity elective. This is not an extensive list as you look at them. It takes us over a year to get courses on and off that list. And so what I often encourage students to do is like, oh, you know, that's a good guide. But if you see courses in other programs like history or something like that that you think would meet the Cultural and Diversity elective requirement, reach out to me. We will authorize that, but we have to do a curriculum modification. I encourage students to look at courses in women, gender, sexuality studies, and African-American, African diaspora studies. If you don't see a course on there that you're interested in, those two programs are really going to have courses that will meet those Cultural and Diversity elective requirements. So you may see a course in the women, gender, sexuality program or African-American, African diaspora studies that you are interested in. Just reach out to me and we will do a curriculum modification eventually to have that course count in the Cultural and Diversity electives. Grade replacement. So you are a group of students where grade point average is becoming a lot more important. You must maintain a 2.5 GPA to apply to the major. Juniors who are in 310, 311, 315 right now, you will be applying to the major, and I will be sending information out about that. And that application is going to be due in December. And so if your GPA is not at a 2.5 right now, I still encourage you to apply to the major. So we take classes. All of us make mistakes in universities. You may have taken a biology course and have failed it. You can retake that course. University, I think they're going to update it. It is up to 3. They were looking at upping it to 5. But you right now, as far as I know, you have up to 3. You can check with the Student First Office grade replacement. So what that means is if you fail something like biology, you make a D in it, you can retake that course. It has to be the same course like biology 105. It does not have to be with the same professor, but it must be the same course. And then you retake that course, you do a higher grade, you replace the higher grade with the lower grade. That doesn't automatically happen. What that means is when the grade is posted in DegreeWorks, the second time you've taken that class, then you have to reach out to Student First because there's a form that you need to fill out and submit to the Student First office. So it doesn't happen automatically. You must reach out to Student First office to fill out that form. Political science, American politics, one of them students have made a D in it before. You retake that course, you make an A in it, you fill out the form, submit it to the Student First office, and it will replace the lower grade with the higher grade. Grade replacement, you'll be astounded, especially with transfer students, is probably one of the best ways to bring your GPA up. I've had students who've had GPAs well below the 2.5. They've done a grade replacement and their GPA will pop right back up to 3.0. That grade of the failing class is always on your degree works and degree evaluation, but it's just not calculated in your final grade. So just if you have questions about grade replacement, please come to me, ask me about that, and we're going to refer you to Student First Office because they're the ones going to be able to answer questions about Student First. Minors, you're getting to the point where some of you may be working on minors, or some of you may be thinking about minors. Minors get a little bit more complicated as you advance into the program because it starts to bump up against required courses, especially the senior year. But it's a really good option for some of you. You're in minors, and I will work with you to have minors count towards the upper level elective courses, the social work 400 upper level elective courses. Minors and peace and conflict studies are great. We've worked for many years with peace and conflict studies, and some of you are working on the simultaneous degree or double major in peace and conflict studies. Minor women, gender, sexuality studies is an amazing minor, and especially African-American, African diaspora studies, because many of us working with diversity, and those two minors are really great minors to help you kind of get the skills and learn about working with diverse populations. Communications, English has a minor in public advocacy. Anthropology is a really good minor. If you're interested in working with Asian populations, gerontology is a really good minor. And for those of you interested in working with families and children, human development family studies is a really good minor. It's getting a little bit late in the game, but if you're still interested in a minor, come meet with me. We can tinker around on degree works and see if there's a possibility that you may be able to complete this minor by the time you are finishing off your final year. I was having this conversation in class the other day. Emails have become, I think we're just oversaturated with emails. It is becoming an ineffective tool at this point, but it is still a tool that we use. It's how I get information out to you primarily is through emails. And it's, of course, how I get information for you all, but it becomes unmanageable at this point, I understand. But I want to reinforce with you to be aware of email etiquette. Just because we're a professional degree, I have a tendency to be somewhat informal in emails, but I really like students to be aware because for you juniors, you're going to be going into your spring semester junior year. Professor Green is going to start working with you to help set you up with an interview with a potential internship, field placement. So what you'll be doing is most likely communicating with that internship through email. So you want to be very professional communicating with them through the email and be aware of checking your email. And you always must check your email from me or Professor Green because we're sending out vital information. If you're not getting emails from me on a regular basis, you need to be letting me know and checking on it. I've had students say that emails are going into their spam box. It is unlikely that my email is going into your spam box because I'm sending it from a university email. And if it's going into your university email, it should be going directly into your inbox. And if you're not receiving information from me, then you need to be checking with me or checking your spam box just to make sure. If it's going in your spam box, you need to contact IT, Six Tech. But always be aware of email etiquette and stay on top of email etiquette. I think that is all I have for that. I'm sure there's a lot more that I can drone on about. The videos from the spring semester are up in the Canvas page. I encourage you to look at that Canvas page. It's probably a little bit more detail, but I do want to try to keep these videos shorter and really cover the information as much as I can during the advising sessions. You will not have to sign up for advising sessions. Just show up for one of them. That's where you will sign in. You'll get your advising code. And just as a reminder, I'm not going to have those virtual office hours after the advising session. So if you miss the advising session, you're going to have to come to my scheduled office hours to get your advising code and get advising then. Really encourage you to come up to the advising sessions because then you all can communicate with each other, create that community of learners, and talk to each other about classes that you found have been helpful and stuff. So everybody have a great semester. If you have any questions, please reach out. Look forward to seeing everybody during the advising session and enjoy your fall break. Thank you.